Anyhow, let's start with Edge and Christian and FTR. Is it the first time they have been a team in Toronto in 24 years? When did Christian leave
For
the
TNA?
WWE? For TNA, yes.
Was that 2005, 2006, 2007, somewhere in there?
Were they burying him at that point? Did they split him up? They were mad at each other? 24 years seems long.
Well, they weren't together when he left. He was doing stuff with Tyson Tomko at that point in time. It was actually the most entertaining I found him in WWE, and then he was gone, and he got a big push in TNA as a world champion.
And so did Tomko, and then he was gone. Well, nevertheless, point being, it's the first time in 24 years, and that does both make it historic and make them sound even older than I thought they were. But what was the deal? Tell me before we get to the match. What was the deal where they were walking into the arena, Edge and Christian, and their greet? I got that they were a famous hockey player was there and said hello, and he got a little bit of a pop from the people. But then who was the weird? They come up on a weird guy wearing glasses, and they called him Bubbles.
Bubbles, yeah.
And they're talking back and forth. I don't know what the fuck he's saying. The gentleman is challenged in some fashion.
Oh, no, not Bubbles, no.
And then they look the other way, and I swear to God, it was the same guy, right? But he's dressed in a costume as the Green Bastard. Is this some kind of goddamn goofy Attitude Era angle that they did, and they found this guy 30 years later? And what the fuck is this?
Bubbles is a character played by that guy who looks remarkably the same as he looked 15 years ago on the Trailer Park Boys, which is one of the funniest comedies of all time. And it's Canadian. So it's a popular Canadian comedy series, I guess is the word I should add there. But it's a great series, at least when Jim Leahy was there. And Bubbles on the show at one point loves wrestling, so they set up a little makeshift ring in the trailer park, and he becomes the Green Bastard.
Oh, Christ on a cracker.
On a cracker?
Well, so they got some advice, I guess, from the Green Bastard. And then they played the music, and then here came Edge.
By the way, not the only Green Bastard in AEW.
No, good catch there. We should be specific. The Green Bastard that is Bubbles with a mask on. But they played the music. Here comes Edge, and I was like, great pop and great entrance, and they've just looked like idiots doing scripted verbiage with some fellow. But they sang his song. And it wasn't as enthusiastic at first, but then it picked up at the end.
At one point, it was so passionless. I was like, what the hell is going on? It's like dry and like this feels like almost they're being forced to do this.
Well, but remember, they're in Canada. So that kind of, for a lot of Canadian folks, that's being just wacky, fucking demonstrative, like crazy on acid on the streets of San Francisco. If you're actually singing with a loud voice in public.
I liked it better when you didn't feel forced to sing at wrestling. I liked it better when you could just stand in the back and...
You better sing! You better sing your hearts out!
Oh my God, dance. In some places you gotta dance too. If you go to France, you gotta dance.
You're going to dance in France, you little bastards. And then, of course, they played Cage's music, and the people chanted, "He's my asshole," because earlier when they were walking in the back with the Bubbles and the hockey guy, Bubbles and the hockey guy, sounds like a pilot from the 70s. The Edge said, well, he may be an asshole, but he's my asshole. And so they're over. The people want to see him. It's the hometown. FTR music, mild booing. I think they've completely just wrung whatever interest that people had at one time in these poor fellows out of it. And Stokely was wearing some kind of stylish hazmat suit. I don't know what that. I thought maybe they were going to fucking fill him up with helium and float him like a blimp over the fucking ring. But did you hear Tony Schiavone's opening comment at or near the bell?
I'm not sure. I mean, Tony Schiavone had various stupid comments about how great it was or how happy he was to be there, how this is what AEW is all about.
They ring the bell and they're squaring off, and Tony said, I don't know if we've ever called a match with so much. And he can't think of the word. And there's dead air. And then Sockface jumped in and started talking to Danielson. Like, oh, Brian, what do you think about that? He couldn't come up with so much emotion, so much enmity, so much goddamn rivalry and passion behind so much.
Somehow the commentary got worse with Danielson. And part of the problem too now is Danielson, because obviously he knows what the booking is. Danielson's screaming things, and then when he stops, no one else has that energy, not the crowd or Excalibur. He's just like, this is amazing, I can't believe it. Tony Schiavone, what do you think about they just move on. Well, everyone has a different energy, and it's not working.
Tony, at his age, if he tried that energy, he'd have a stroke. And Sockface can't just yell back at him, but then it's just constant screaming. And Danielson, yes, he's so excited, but also he doesn't do sound bites. He does analyses that sometimes take a while.
And then they laugh. Whenever anything bad happens, especially in front of them, you hear them laugh, and then one laughing gets the other one to laugh. So now the commentators are laughing at something that really should hurt. The whole thing is a mess. The whole thing is a mess.
Well, but having said that now, let's get back to the match, because the whole thing wasn't, the match was not a mess. The matches come later, but they worked a smart match because FTR know how to have a tag team match, and they were the ping pong balls for Christian and Edge, who know how to have a match and also are, obviously picking their spots at their age and stage of the game. And Cash and Edge did a great wrestling spot. Dax was ping-ponging for the guys. At one point, FTR did a blind tag to cut Christian off, but if anybody wants to go back and look at an example of how you actually could and should do a blind tag, but it's too small. The fans didn't see it. They were bunched up in the corner when he slapped him. They should have gone, reached behind, hand to hand, where the fans could see it, then they would have got it. But the blind tag was too small. They got some heat on Christian and worked switches around the fact that they were keeping Christian in a chin lock because they needed to conserve energy. And then, boom, Christian foiled Cash's splash and got the hot tag, and Edge made a nice comeback. Did a little "you can't see me," which woke the fans up. And then the fans started chanting, Cena, Cena. Like, oh. But they came to see Edge and Christian do stuff. They didn't really come to see this hot match or FTR get beat up or whatever. When FTR's getting the heat, they were just kind of like waiting for Edge and Christian to do something. And then finally FTR hit their suplex splash combination and got a 2 count. Boom. And Edge and Christian foiled the shatter machine, and Edge had a cover, and the referee goes down, and Stokely pulls the referee to the floor, which, again, has been done a lot here in modern times, but let's not nitpick. But then suddenly the music plays, and it's Beth Phoenix, and she runs down the fucking entranceway and spears Stokely on the floor. And the people are, yeah, holy shit. And Edge spears Dax, boom. and covers him 1, 2, 2 count. What the fuck? Then Beth carried Stokely out of the arena, and the match continues. Christian got powerbombed on the announce desk. Then Edge got hit with the ring bell. And then after they hit him with the ring bell, they gave him a spike pile driver. 1, 2, 2 count. What the fuck? They had it. They had it, and they won't stop. Edge stopped both FTR, but then just ran into a shatter machine. 2 count. Oh, for God's sake. Then they did a second shatter machine to Edge, but no cover. There was an awkward moment where I can only presume something was supposed to happen, or because Cash then just suddenly ran over to be tripped by Christian all the way across the ring, and Edge speared Cash 1, 2, 3. Or Dax ran over to be. So, I don't know what the fuck, but they had it. They'd done all their false finishes. They'd done this shit, the big suplex splash, blah, blah, blah. Here comes Beth, spears fucking Stokely. Edge hits his spear. The people were there, 2 count, and then they go through all this shit. And it was awkward to begin with. But they can't quit. But it was close to a tag team wrestling match for AEW, didn't you think?
I thought it was going to be a great match, thinking about it in advance. I don't think it was great, but it was really good. It was a fine opener. Up until the finish, maybe a little bit before the finish, but up until the finish, and then, to me, it just went off the rails.
Yeah.
Especially in front of that crowd in Toronto. Who at times was the quietest Toronto crowd I've ever heard.
Well, later on, you could take a nap every once in a while in the middle of a match because they were waiting to see what looked like somebody got hurt. Because that's what gets the biggest, not somebody winning or somebody, that we love, but the biggest reactions come from that looked like somebody got hurt. But anyway, nevertheless, we're not done. No, it's only the opening match on a fucking pay-per-view. We've got to have an angle here. So suddenly they play more music. And here comes old Mama Wayne, wheeling Nick Plain out in a wheelchair on the stage. And this distraction led to FTR to be able to jump Edge and Christian from behind, and Pip Sabian to come from somewhere and handcuff Edge to the ropes, while FTR spike pile drive Christian Cage. But here comes Beth back out trying to get Edge loose from the goddamn deal. And FTR starts menacing her, like standing over her. So she looks at Edge and tells him, "I love you," and kisses him, and then turns around and starts swinging away at FTR. And now we're, okay. Dusty had his moments where he would recreate scenes from John Wayne movies too. So, and she starts swinging at FTR, but they grab her, and to contain her, so she's not a danger to herself or others, they give her a spike pile driver. And then FTR leaves, and the doctor is checking on Beth, and nobody was getting Edge loose until finally they got the bolt cutters. And I'm not sure where Christian went in all of that. Are you? Do you remember?
Well, he was the first one laid out.
Well, but nobody ever stays laid out for long.
I don't know. I hadn't thought of it, actually. I hate to say it. I hadn't thought of where did Christian go.
I'm trying to look at my notes. What happened to him? Well, they were just, they beat him up some kind of way and threw him out. Well, he's not the most courageous son of a gun in the world anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what
I'm taking a sip.
I thought it was just awkward pause because it was kind of deserved because of this post match. The whole thing where Beth has music and she runs out there and it's just, it's just Beth because obviously you can't call her Beth Phoenix. WWE owns that. And she comes out there.
Well, I just called her Beth Phoenix because.
Well, you can.
Because I knew her back when.
But then, now you have like girls beating up guys on both shows. And now you have girls getting spike pile drivers on the show. It seems like a big jump. It seems like a bit much. Especially to heat up this. I don't think the FTR heel run right now is really clicking with people, despite them trying to heat it up. I don't think it's working or clicking at all, and I think the fans kind of, and we've seen it, I mean, they set it up into being part of their thing, but the fans are almost like mocking them. And it's a weird way of booking top heels if any of this is intentional. But I was hoping this would end tonight. But maybe I was naive thinking that. But I was hoping everyone would kind of move on after tonight.
Well,
or last night.
But now here's the thing: is that I like Beth Phoenix, and I think that she's a good talent. That I don't know whether she's wanting or whether this was a one-time thing or setting up some kind of mixed tag. Or, she's not getting back into business, whatever the fuck. But
they should have had her out there to confront Stokely before Edge beat him up.
Well, the point being, that's what I'm saying is they picked this time to do that, maybe because it was in Toronto and it just because, they live in Asheville, North Carolina, though. But they've done it the same week as the biggest mixed tag team match and the biggest husband and wife reunion in fucking wrestling history. And so it comes off, even though Edge and Beth are both stars and talents, it comes off again like maybe it's just their rotten timing. Maybe they plan to do it this time all along, but it comes off like, oh, well, we got a fucking couple rather than a big deal. And for it to mean really anything besides a pop for the people in the building in Toronto, the Beth comes out and carries Stokely off and gets pile driven, is if in any way Stokely had any fucking heat. And that's the problem is this just comes off like they're copying the what the big company is doing. And when's the last time that the WWE made a particularly big deal about a husband and wife combination? Since Triple H and Stephanie or whatever. So it just had to be this time. It makes it look like Herd's WCW with ding-dongs trying to copy Vince's, 80s ice cream bar era.
But again, they had Beth Phoenix come out there to make the big save. And then the debut in AEW, I guess. First appearance in AEW. And then immediately she gets laid out. So I don't know about the whole thing.
Well, yeah. Unless she's just not, it was a cameo, whatever.